Welcome to the Sun today for the 30th of March 2022. The exciting news we've had today is that we've had an X1.4 flare. This is only the third X flare so far in solar cycle 25, but that's still way ahead of the pace that solar cycle 24 was setting at the equivalent stage. At X1.4, it's the second largest flare. The largest flare was an X1.6 event on the 3rd of July 2021. This flare follows a string of 8 M flares in just 2 days, all from the same region, region 2975. Let's first take a look at the sunspots that have been inducing all these flares, and we're going to use the HMI instrument on the Solar Dynamics Observatory. This is a picture of the sunspots, and you'll see that it's not just one region, it's several regions. We have active region 2975, which is the big region on the right. 2976 and 2977 are some of the surrounding spots. But the question is, where does the flare occur? And to do that, we're going to have to look at a different channel. The channel we're going to look at this time is using the AIA instrument on SDO and look at the 1700 angstrom continuum channel. That is not a usual channel to be shown when looking at flares, but it has one advantage. It shows both the sunspots and the location of the foot points of the flares. Here is a sample of the 1700 angstrom channel, and you can see the sunspots very clearly, but they're surrounded by these bright areas. That's called plage. Where the sunspots are dark and cool, this plage is hotter and light. And what we're going to look for the flare is going to be a couple of bright ribbons appearing in that leading sunspot region. Those are the base of the foot points of the flaring loops. You can see the X1.4 flare off to the right in this light curve from the GOES X-ray flux monitor. You can also see I've marked here the 8 M flares that occurred in the last couple of days prior to this. To see the flare in all its glory, we're going to look at the hottest channel on the AIA instrument on SDO, and that's the iron 20 line at 131 angstroms. Whenever you see a flare of this sort of magnitude, the first thing you do is ask, did it produce a coronal mass ejection, and is that coronal mass ejection heading towards Earth? So we can see here in the upcoming video from the LASCO C2 instrument that there was indeed a CME. It was a halo CME, which means it is coming towards Earth, and that means it's likely to hit the Earth in the next couple of days. So we can expect some spectacular aurora from it, and possibly a quite strong geomagnetic storm. What can we conclude from all of this? That active region 2975 has been a very productive flaring region. 8 M flares, 1 X flare so far, and it hasn't gone over the west limb as yet. So there's a chance that it produce more activity, though I think it's beginning to decay. 2022, in just the first 3 months, has produced a lot of flares. 472 C flares compared with 577 C flares for the whole of last year. 23 M flares compared with 30 M flares in the whole of last year, and 1 X flare, and we did have 2 X flares last year, which is an extraordinary event, much outpacing anything we saw from solar cycle 24 last time around at the same stage. I asked the question, is anyone still betting on a grand solar minimum? And I note with some pleasure that the channels that are pushing a grand solar minimum seem to be losing a lot of viewership in the last few months for fairly obvious reasons. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please pass it on to someone else. In the meantime, you can follow what's going on the Sun on my Twitter channel, and until next time, stay safe and goodbye.